Hey, Dave McCann, Blaine Fowler here at BYU TV. What a day. The Cougars invited to the Big 12. They accept all sports beginning in 2023. There aren't many bigger days in the history of this place than here.
Yeah, and it's been a building process for
Yeah.
decades, right, to get to this point. And this period of independence, I think, has been good for BYU because I think that they've strengthened themselves during independence. They've upped their schedules in football and basketball, and the Olympic sports have gotten stronger. And so I think they're prepared right now to step in and compete in one of the premier conferences in the country. And even though Texas and Oklahoma are leaving, that the teams that are coming in strengthen this conference to the point where there really isn't a step back in any sport and a step forward in some.
Commissioner Rob Bowlesby, live on BYU TV today, talked about just that point. One of the coolest scenes we saw, Mark Pope and Kalani Sitake came into the meeting, met up in the back where we were, and gave each other the biggest bear hugs we've seen in a long, long time. What does it mean for men's basketball and BYU football specifically that takes them to the next level?
Well, first of all, I think it has a huge impact on recruiting, and I think that's the major thing, and part of that is because of scheduling, and they kind of go hand in hand because now when you go out to recruit someone, you say, listen, we're in a P5 conference. We play a big time schedule. So you're going to be playing against the best players in the country with exposure every single night, whether it's in basketball or it's in football. And if you want to come and compete at the highest level against the best players in the country, you can do that here in this conference. And so I think it helps recruiting. Kids that BYU was recruiting, let's say Kalani in football, that he may have lost to an Oregon or to a USC or to Stanford, perhaps,
or to Utah,
or to Utah. Yeah. All of a sudden, there's one less reason to go outside. You go, wait a minute, I can everything that I want from a competition perspective, exposure perspective, pathway to the next level perspective, I can get now in this league. And so those are the two big things. I think recruiting is enhanced by the ability to schedule big time teams, to be in a national spotlight, to play against that kind of competition. And with advanced recruiting, your teams just get better and you compete more and more on a national level each year that you're in that conference. It feeds on itself.
Yeah. ESPN's been BYU's best friend since going independent. They're good for this season. They're good for next season, as Tom Holmoe described earlier. After that, it's ESPN and Fox deal with the Big 12. We'll see how it shakes out for BYU, but scheduling-wise, next year is set. We anticipate Notre Dame fitting in there somewhere. But the following year, there are games to lose and there are games to keep, and that will be Tom's next challenge.
Yeah, and believe me, Tom's up to that challenge. Anybody can do what he did in this last decade or more of independence. Scheduling has been a nightmare for football and basketball. And you think basketball, the schedule right now is not even complete yet. We're still working on things.
And they start practice in a couple weeks.
And so it's a difficult thing to schedule in independence. It's difficult for BYU to schedule non-conference games in basketball. Well, all of that just got solved for 2 years from now. So moving forward, you've still got the challenge of next year. But as you mentioned, in football, they're set. They're already good to go. And most likely the addition of Notre Dame on that schedule. Yeah. And when you get into the conference, you're going to have big players coming in. I talked to Mark Pope just a little bit ago, and he said, you know how hard we try to get marquee programs to come and play in the Marriott Center?
Now they have to come.
And they don't come.
Yeah.
They won't come. And he says, we go out, we say, listen, we'll do a 2-for-1. Teams like Baylor or Kansas.
Michigan State.
These schools, you go, listen, how about we play 2 games at your place and 1 in Vivint? Or how all of these kinds of deals to try to get marquee programs to come into the Marriott Center, because that's not an easy place to play, right? Well, guess what? Those teams, Kansas and Oklahoma State,
Baylor,
and Huggins walking in here with West Virginia, and the defending national champs Baylor, they're coming here every single solitary year, and you're going to their place. So for basketball, it's going to be we see great games in the Marriott Center when BYU plays Gonzaga the last couple of years. We know what the Marriott Center is capable of when it's filled to the rafters and there's a big game on the line. We have multiple games every year now. So for the fans, this is huge.
Changes everything. Mark Pope's going to join us live on Countdown to Kickoff tomorrow night. Our coverage starts at 6 Mountain Time over at the football stadium ahead of a big football game. And Tom Holmoe will join us live as well. It is a big day in Provo. The Rocky Mountains are now Big 12 country.
That's right. The footprint of the Big 12, it's got to be the biggest conference in the country. It covers a lot of ground from West Virginia to Salt Lake City, but very exciting news, and the fans should be pumped about this.
For Blaine Fowler, I'm Dave McCann. We'll see you at this football stadium tomorrow night here on BYU TV.